Hello all, welcome to the Mastering of YouTube channel. So in our class of Foundations in Plant Physiology and Anatomy, we are going to discuss about the factors affecting stomatal opening and closing. So basically what we have said in this class, we will be discussing about what is stomata, structure of stomata and the factors affecting. We will have a very weak discussion about the structure and definitions of stomata. Basically we will be concentrating on the factors affecting the stomatal opening and closing. Okay, so we will be understanding the mechanism behind the stomatal regulation. It's just an introduction class. The very basic. We will just study about the basic things that are the factors which are affecting it, how they are closing and opening the stomata and all. Okay. So first of all, what is stomata? I think many of us already know what is stomata. Stomata are actually the tiny pores on the surface of the leaves. Okay, so stomata is basically they are tiny pores present on the surface of the leaf. Their major function includes the regulation of gases, regulate gas exchange and water loss. So they regulate the water transport and regulate gases exchange. So the function of stomata is basically that. So actually from here we can get an idea that the presence of gas and the presence of water can affect the opening and closing of the stomata. Okay. Now we have guard cells. Guard cells they control the opening and closing of the stomata. Okay. So this one is important. We need to know that these guard cells they control the opening and closing of the stomata. Now various environmental and internal factors influence the stomatal movement. So there are some external factors or we can say environmental factors, and internal factors are also there that influence the stomatal movement. Okay. So now the structure of stomata. Here we will be discussing about the structure, how the stomata is arranged and how its structure is how it is built. Okay, so now let's discuss about the structure of stomata. So basically let me draw that. So basically stomata, first of all, they are present on the there are few number of stomata present on the upper surface of the leaf. Majorly they are present on the lower surface of the leaf. I think you know that because upper surface it is more that attached or upper surface of the leaf is more exposed. Okay, so we can use the term exposed. It is more exposed to the sunlight and wind and all. So that's why the lower surface of the leaf has more stomata compared to the upper surface of the leaf. Okay, now the structure of stomata. Let's discuss about the structure of stomata. I'm drawing it here. Okay, we have stomata. We have two guard cells surrounded by subsidiary cells. Okay, so first let's make two guard cells. Here we have two guard cells. Okay, two guard cells are present, and then surrounding these guard cells, subsidiary cells are present. Okay, so subsidiary cells are present surrounding these guard cells. Okay, wait. We can use different colors for different parts. First, we will draw that guard cell with blue color. Okay, just remember those colors I am using. Guard cells. We have two guard cells, and then we have subsidiary cells. We have subsidiary cells. Okay, now after the subsidiary cells we have epidermal cells. Epidermal cells, they are the cells that present on the upper surface, on the surface of the leaf. Okay, they are simply like this. Epidermal cells are present surrounding this. Okay, so let's just discuss about the structure now. So basically this pore, this is a pore, this is a hole. Okay, so this is what we call the stomatal pore. Okay, so this is from where the gases are being exchanged. Here in this picture you can see there are two guard cells and in between a pore is there. This is a closed stomata. I think this is a closed stomata. Okay, if it is open stomata, this pore, this one is the pore that helps in the exchange of gases and all those things from where light is being absorbed and all. So basically these are the guard cells. These guard cells, they help in closing and opening of the stomata, and we have some subsidiary cells. Okay, the speciality of this guard cell is that it is narrow in the middle and it is broad in the end. It's just the mistake of my drawing. Actually, guard cells may look like this. It will be it will be narrow in middle. It will be narrow in middle and it will be very thick on the opposite sides. In the middle portion, bulbous on the each end. Okay, so in the middle section they have strong and thick. So the middle section, maybe it's narrow but it will be very thick, and the inner wall of these guard cells. Okay, so these walls, they will be very much thick because they are the one that controls the opening and closing of the stomata. So they have a thick inner wall. And what we see that so this is actually the diagram of the stomata. We have guard cells, stomatal pore, subsidiary cells and epidermal cells. Okay, so that's all with the structure of stomata. Now let's discuss about all other things. Okay, so they are located mainly on the leaf epidermis, on the majority on the lower surface of the leaf and few on the upper surface of the leaf. Now guard cells change shape to open and close the stomata. It regulates transpiration, carbon dioxide intake and oxygen release. Okay, so these things are being regulated by stomata: transpiration, losing of water, carbon dioxide intake and oxygen release. Now environmental factors. Now let's go to our main topic, that is the factors affecting the stomatal movement. First of all, we have environmental factors. First, light. Okay, so first is light. Stomata opens in light, especially in blue light. Okay, so the during photosynthesis we studied that this blue light is the main light that is being absorbed. Okay, so the stomata opens in light and closes in darkness. So this photosynthesis and all, they occurs in the daytime, and during night respiration only occurs. We studied in previous classes. So first point is about light. Stomata opens in light, especially in case of blue light, and closes in the darkness. Now temperature. High temperature can induce closure to prevent the water loss. Okay, so the plants need water, and they do have such mechanism to prevent the loss of water. One such is that this one, during high temperature the loss of water is very common. So that's why when the temperature increases, it induces the closing of the stomata. Now humidity. About humidity, high humidity keeps stomata open. So when humidity is high, stomata opens, and in case of low humidity, to decrease the water loss and all, the stomata, it will be closed. Okay, now carbon dioxide concentration. So basically during the daytime when photosynthesis is happening, plants need carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide, the exchange of gases takes place through stomata. This thing we already studied. Now this is actually a factor that is affecting the stomatal movement. High carbon dioxide concentration inside the leaf leads to the closure of the stomata, and low when the concentration of carbon dioxide is high in stomata. So when the concentration of carbon dioxide is high in stomata, then it will close our stomatal pore. So the stomata will be closed so that the carbon dioxide won't get exchanged due to the concentration differences between the atmosphere and inside the plant, inside the leaf. So that's why the stomata closes to prevent the loss of carbon dioxide. And when there is low carbon dioxide inside the leaf, the stomata will open. When the carbon dioxide is low, the stomata will open, and it leads to the intake of carbon dioxide gas from atmosphere inside the leaves. Okay, now the case of wind. When wind happens, the water loss may increase and potentially lead to the stomatal closure. Okay, so wind causes the stomata to close. Now that was the environmental or external factors that affect the stomatal movement. Next we will be discussing about the internal factors that affect the movement of stomata. Okay, so the internal factors affecting stomatal movement. So this is actually a microscopic picture of stomata. Here you can see two guard cells are there, subsidiary cells are also there. Okay, so the guard cells and substitute cells are also present in this picture. Now the internal factors, basically different types of different factors affect the different internal factors affect the stomatal movement, ionic gradient, hormonal regulations, and the biological clock and all. So first of all, turgor pressure in guard cells. When the guard cells have turgor pressure, they opens the stomata. High pressure inside the guard cell, they causes the stomata to open. When the pressure is low, they will relax, and it will lead to the closure of the stomata. Okay, just to full now, let's just study like this, and we will discuss deeply in the mechanism part. Okay. Now hormonal regulation, abscisic acid. When there is stress, drought stress, you can take the example of drought stress. In that case, the plant, they will need to take up the save water as much as possible. So in that case, abscisic acid will produce, and they induces the stomata to close. Because in order to retain the water inside the plant, they have to avoid maximum loss of water from the plant's surface, through the plant surface. So the hormone regulation in abscisic acid, ABA, is the phytohormone that helps during stress, drought stress. So to produce during it is produced during the drought stress, and it leads to the closing of stomata to avoid the water loss. Now potassium ion movement. Okay, so in this case of potassium ion movement, this potassium, we can say that during daytime, this potassium, it gets inside the cell, and it leads to the loss of H plus ions from the cell, okay, from the stomata. And this case, this increases the osmotic pressure, and water, H2O from outside, will enter into the guard cell, enter into the cell. So that leads to water influx and opening. Okay, so the loss causes closure. So the potassium uptake will increase the water intake, and this will lead to a opening of our stomata. And when potassium during the night, when potassium is lost from the cell, this leads to the closure of the stomata. That is, during that time, water will also get lost, and in this way, the these guard cells, which will change its shape, and it will lead to the closing of the stomata. Now circadian rhythm, they are basically the biological clock. Okay, we during every night we all sleep, and every morning we will wake up, right? It happens every day. Night we go to sleep, and the morning we wake up. Actually, this is our biological clock that makes us to do these things continuously. In the same way, the circadian rhythm, that is the internal biological clock, it helps in regulating the daily opening and closing of the stomata. Okay, so these were the internal factors affecting the stomatal movement. Let's just again go to that one. Let's just have a revision. Environmental factors or external factors affecting the stomatal movement are: first, light. Stomata opens in light and closes in darkness, especially in case of blue light. And temperature, high temperature can induce closure to prevent the water loss. Humidity, high humidity keeps stomata open, low humidity promotes closure. Carbon dioxide concentration, high CO2 inside the leaf lead to closure, and low CO2 inside the leaves leads to opening. Wind, increased water loss potentially lead to the stomatal closure. Now, internal factors affecting the stomatal movement are turgor pressure. High pressure opens the stomata, low pressure closes them. Hormonal regulation, abscisic acid, mainly ABA, that is produced during the drought stress, and it helps to close the stomata to decrease the loss of water. Then potassium ion movement, potassium accumulation leads to the K plus ion. Potassium ion leads to the water influx and opening of the stomata, and losses of potassium ion causes the closure of the stomata. Circadian rhythm, internal biological clock, regulates the opening and closing of the daily opening and closing of the stomata. Now, importance of stomatal regulation. Why we have to study this much factors, this much more mechanism and all? Because First of all, it helps in balance the carbon dioxide intake and water loss. Next, it prevents the excessive transpiration in drought conditions. Another essential for photosynthesis and plant survival. Basically, stomata is very much crucial for the survival of the plant. Take in case of water loss, water intake. Take in case of gases exchange or photosynthesis and all. So basically, the stomata regulation is very much important for the survival of the for carrying out the physiological activities of the plant. Now, coming to the conclusion, stomatal movement is influenced by multiple external and internal factors we already discussed. Proper regulation ensures the plant's efficiency in photosynthesis and water conservation. Understanding these factors helps in agriculture and environmental applications. Okay, so by understanding all these physiological and anatomical features of a plant, we can help it in contributing providing very good contributions to the agriculture and environmental applications. Okay, so that's all with the class. Thank you, and let's meet in a next class. Okay, so that's all. Thank you very much.